I'm 95 years old. I'm sitting in this armchair for what might be the last time I talk to anyone who'll listen. And I need to tell you something before I go. Something that's been eating at me for decades. I followed the rules my whole life. I did exactly what they told me to do. I had the plan, the 5-year plan, then another 5, then another. I climbed every rung they hung in front of me. And you know what I got at the top? A view of everything I burned to the ground on the way up. Listen here, folks. I'm not some bitter old coot complaining about the good old days. The good old days weren't that good. I'm not here to sell you nostalgia. I'm here to warn you, because I bought the whole 9 yards of what they were selling back then, and it cost me everything that mattered. And I see you doing the same thing now, just with different window dressing. You trade suits for hoodies, but the trap is the same. They got me in 1958, fresh out of Korea, wearing my first real suit. It was wool, itchy as hell, sitting across from a man named Mr. Pemberton at General Dynamics. The office smelled like stale cigarette smoke, Old Spice, and leather. He slid a piece of paper across his oak desk. The wood was so polished I could see my reflection in it, and he said, "Son, this is your future." It was an org chart, my name at the bottom, 5 boxes above me, 5 years to climb each one. "You follow this plan," he said, tapping his thick finger on that paper, tap, tap, tap. "And by the time you're 45, you'll be a vice president. Company car, corner office, pension that'll make your grandkids comfortable." I signed on right there. Why wouldn't I? The country was booming. Suburbs were sprouting up like dandelions. Everyone was buying Cadillacs with fins and televisions and living the dream that got sold door to door like encyclopedias. The 5-year plan wasn't just a career strategy. It was the American promise, wrapped up in a bow and handed to every young man with ambition and a willingness to punch the clock. Year 1, I was a junior associate. I worked 60-hour weeks, learning the ins and outs of aerospace contracts. Year 3, I made senior associate. My wife, Helen, threw me a party. Our son Tommy was 6 years old, running around the yard in his little cowboy hat. I remember picking him up, feeling the weight of him in my arms, thinking, this is why I'm doing it. For him, for her, for the house we're going to buy. Year 5, right on schedule, I made project manager. Bought that house in Westchester. White picket fence, 2-car garage, maple tree in the front yard, the whole package. I thought I was winning. I didn't know I was digging a hole. But here's the thing they didn't tell me. The thing they never tell you. The plan doesn't stop. The moment you hit year 5, they slide another piece of paper across the desk. Another 5 boxes. Another set of goals. You're doing great, they say, but imagine where you could be in 5 more years, and you're already so far in. You've already sacrificed so much. That turning back feels like admitting it was all for nothing. So, I made another plan. 5 more years to senior project manager. 5 more after that to director. My 30s dissolved into conference rooms and client dinners and planes to Washington. Helen raised Tommy mostly by herself. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself that once I made director, I'd slow down. We'd take that trip to Yellowstone we kept talking about. I'd coach Tommy's Little League team. Spoiler alert, we never went to Yellowstone. Director came in 1968. I was 38. Right on target. Tommy was 16 by then. I barely recognized him. He'd grown tall, taller than me, and he had this distant look in his eyes, like he was always somewhere else. like he'd learned early that I wasn't really there. So why bother waiting? Helen had this routine down, this life that functioned perfectly fine without me in it. I'd become a wallet that occasionally slept in the master bedroom. But I had one more goal, the big one. Vice president by 45. That was the summit. That was where I could finally exhale and enjoy what I'd built. Just 7 more years. That's what I told myself. 7 more years of grinding. Then I'd be set. Then I'd be free. I made VP in 1975. 3 months ahead of schedule, actually. They threw me a party at the Plaza Hotel in Manhattan. Champagne and oysters and men in tuxedos, congratulating me like I'd won a war. I gave a speech about perseverance and planning and the American work ethic. Everyone clapped. I shook hands until my palm hurt. I drove home that night in my new company Lincoln. Black leather interior. Still smelled like the factory. And I felt nothing. Not pride, not relief. Just this creeping numbness, like I'd been anesthetized for surgery and was just starting to wake up. The silence inside that luxury car was louder than the applause. I walked into my house at 11:30 at night. The house I'd bought but never really lived in. Helen was asleep on the couch with a book on her chest. Her reading glasses were crooked on her face. Tommy's bedroom door was closed. There was an acceptance letter from Berkeley on the kitchen table. He'd gotten in. He was leaving in 2 months. I didn't even know what major he chose. I stood there in my $1,000 suit, holding my leather briefcase, in the house I'd worked 20 years to afford. And I realized I didn't know my own son. I didn't know what books my wife read. I didn't know what the yard looked like in the morning. I'd been so busy building a life that I'd forgotten to live it. That's when it hit me. The plan hadn't been for me. It had been a treadmill disguised as a ladder. Every 5 years, they moved the finish line. And I ran faster, thinking I was getting somewhere, when really I was just wearing myself down to nothing in the same spot. Now let me break this down for you, because this is important. Ask yourself and be honest in the dark. Don't lie to the old man. What are you putting off today for a someday 5 years from now? Tell me down below. I want to know what this generation is sacrificing. The 5-year plan is brilliant. From their perspective, not yours. The corporations, the system, whatever you want to call the machine that needs your labor and your compliance. It works because it weaponizes your ambition against your present happiness. Think about it. If they told you on day 1, you're going to work 60-hour weeks for 30 years, miss your kids growing up, damage your health, and postpone every dream that doesn't fit in a weekend, you'd tell them to go to hell. But they don't say that. They say just 5 more years, just this one promotion, just until you make partner. And 5 years is the perfect interval. It's far enough away that you can justify incredible sacrifice. It's only 5 years, you think. I can handle anything for 5 years, but it's close enough that you can see it, that you believe it's achievable. So you defer everything. You defer the art you wanted to make. You defer the time with people you love. You defer your health, your sleep, your joy. You mortgage your 30s for your 40s. You mortgage your 40s for your 50s. And here's the part that's going to sting, so pay attention. You think you're different. You think you're smarter than I was. You think you've got it figured out. You think the hustle culture will save you. It won't. I thought that too. Every man in that office thought that. We all believed we were the exception. We all believed we could out-negotiate time. You can't. When you get there, when you finally reach that 5-year mark, you're a different person. Your kids are grown. They've learned to stop asking you to come to their games because you never do. Your friends have drifted away. They stopped inviting you places because you always said no. Your body hurts in ways it didn't before. Your back, your knees, the headaches that won't quit, and the goal that seemed so important 5 years ago, it's hollow. Because the real reward wasn't the title or the salary. The real reward was supposed to be your life, and you traded it for a nameplate on a door. I'm not saying don't have ambition. I'm not saying don't work hard. I'm saying the 5-year plan is designed to keep you in a state of perpetual incompleteness. It's designed to make you feel like your real life is always just around the corner, always just out of reach. Once I achieve this, then I'll be happy. But then never comes. Tommy and I barely spoke for 15 years after he left for Berkeley. We'd have these stilted phone calls on holidays where I'd ask about his classes and he'd give me one-word answers. The silence between us was so thick you could choke on it. Helen and I stayed married, but we became roommates who shared a tax return. She had her book club, her garden, her friends. I had my office, my golf outings with clients, my plaques on the wall. I retired at 68. They gave me a gold watch and another party. I thought retirement would be my reward. I'd travel, I'd read, I'd finally live. But I didn't know how. I'd spent 40 years being told what to do, where to be, what to prioritize. Without the structure of the plan, I was lost. I'd wake up at 5:30 out of habit, with nowhere to go. I'd make coffee in a silent house. I'd sit at the kitchen table and wonder what the hell I was supposed to do with freedom. Helen passed in 2010. Pneumonia. I held her hand in the hospital, and right before she went, she looked at me with those gray eyes that used to be so full of light. And she said, "We could have had a beautiful life." Not we had. Could have had. Past tense of a future that never happened. Those were her last words to me. So what do you do? How do you escape this trap when you've still got bills to pay and mouths to feed? You redefine the plan. You take back your present. First, you understand that ambition and presence are not opposites. You can work hard and still be alive while you're doing it. But you have to choose every single day what you're optimizing for. The Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius ran an empire and still found time to write, to think, to be present with his mortality. He knew that all we ever have is today. Stop living in service of some future version of yourself who gets to be happy. That person doesn't exist. There's only you, right now, reading these words, breathing this breath. The question isn't, where will I be in 5 years? The question is, am I alive today? Second, you draw lines, hard lines. You decide what you will not sacrifice. Maybe it's dinner with your family. Maybe it's your health. Maybe it's the hobby that makes you feel human. And then you protect those things like your life depends on it, because it does. Not your financial life, your actual life. The one you'll think about when you're where I am now. I've watched men die with millions in the bank and nobody at their bedside. I've watched men die with nothing, but surrounded by people who loved them. Guess which ones went peacefully? Third, you question every goal they hand you. Ask yourself, who benefits from this? Is this my dream or someone else's? Will achieving this give me a better life? or just a better story to tell at cocktail parties. Because here's what nobody tells you when you're young and hungry. The corner office, the impressive title, the salary that lets you keep up with the Joneses, none of it matters at the end. Zero. I can't take my VP plaque with me. I can't spend my pension where I'm going. What matters is the Tuesday afternoon you spent teaching your kid to ride a bike. What matters is the morning you slept in with your partner instead of answering emails. The small, quiet, unprofitable moments that don't fit on a resume. I'm not saying quit your job and live in a van. I'm saying stop deferring your humanity for a promotion. Stop believing that happiness is a destination you'll arrive at if you just follow the plan for 5 more years. The plan is a lie. It's always been a lie. It's a control mechanism. There is another way. It's messier. It doesn't fit on an org chart. It requires you to value your actual life over the appearance of a successful one. I know what you're thinking. Easy for you to say, old man. You already climbed the ladder. You got yours. And you're right. I did. And I'm telling you it's not worth what you'll pay. The view from the top is just a view of everything you missed on the ground. Tommy came to see me last month. He's 62 now. We sat in this same armchair, and I told him what I'm telling you. I apologized for not being there, for choosing the plan over him. You know what he said? He said, "I forgave you a long time ago, Dad, but I made sure I didn't make the same mistake." He's a high school teacher, makes a fraction of what I made, lives in a modest house in Oregon, and he's happy, really happy. He knows his kids. He coaches soccer. He reads poetry. He's living the life I could have had if I'd had the courage to step off the treadmill. That's my legacy. Not the money, not the career. The fact that my son learned from my mistake instead of repeating it. So I'm asking you, whoever you are, wherever you are in your own 5-year plan, stop. Look around. Is this the life you want? Or is this the waiting room for the life you think you'll get to live later? Later is a lie. Later is where dreams go to die. There is only now, this breath, this day, these people in your life who won't be here forever. This version of you that's still capable of joy. I'm 95 years old, and I'm almost out of time. But you're not. You still have a chance to get this right, to build a life instead of a resume, to be remembered for who you were, not what you achieved. Don't wait until you're in this armchair, looking back at a life you were too busy planning to actually live. Don't wait until the people you love are gone. Don't wait until your body is failing. I don't have much time left to spread this message. If this old man made you think, leave a like on this video so the algorithm shows it to some other poor soul running on that treadmill before it's too late. Subscribe if you want to hear the rest of what I have to say before I go. The 5-year plan stole my life. Don't let it steal yours.